But with that, I wanted to talk about the transition from a neutral bow to a forward bow and the difference in height, width, and depth within that stance. Now, as we talked about online, we talked about that in a forward bow is not just a rotation of the back foot or the rear foot from straight to pushed out. In other words, most of American Kenpo, as you're going to see, if I were to use our break stance method to get into a neutral bow, stepping back and over, heel up, heel down. I'm now in a left neutral bow to you. Most of American Kenpo leaves their upper body the same and calls this, with a kicking out of my right heel, a forward bow. The big problem is I haven't gone forward. In fact, the center of my weight is exactly 50-50 between both feet. With that, as I stand up, let's do that from the side. This is what most of American Kenpo does. I go to my neutral bow. Here's their forward bow. I just kicked out my heel. Yes, my leg is straight, but my weight has not gone forward. Hence the name forward bow. I go to my neutral bow. In both CFAC and SFAC, the formula or the process from going from a neutral bow to a forward bow is this. Once I'm in the neutral bow, I'm going to shift weight forward. You notice there, if you were to put an imaginary line, so once again, I go from, this is going to be my 12 o'clock, you were at my 3 o'clock. I step back naturally, heel up, heel down, I'm in my neutral bow. You notice the center of this stick is directly in the middle of my body, 50-50 weight distribution. Now the process for going from a neutral bow to a forward bow, and the formula is this. I am going to shift weight. I'm going to try and hold this stick here. It's anchored to the ground. I'm going to shift weight forward. You notice in shifting that weight forward over my front foot, where the stick is. The stick is now by my pec, and the third quadrant in the Venetian blind principle, not in the center of my body. I've shifted weight forward in and over my foot. I am going to now flare my right heel out, and I'm going to tuck my hip down and in just like we did with the horse stance. And you notice now the majority of my weight is now forward of the stick. If I were able to hold this behind my arm, the majority of my weight is now forward of the staff. I'm going to shift weight back and go to a neutral bow, turn the heel in. Now I'm in my neutral bow towards my 12. Once again, let me do that transition. I'm going to shift weight. I'm going to rotate. And there I am. Rotate back, shift weight. So in other words, it is shift weight and flexion. In other words, tightening of the muscles and shifting of weight into my thighs and into my quads. Rotation into the stance. Using also the XY rotation of my hips. This is the forward bow. This is what allows me in a forward bow to get the reach, such as in long form 1, to be able to strike my opponent. In other words, if I were to hold the stick here and this is my opponent, I'm in a neutral bow, my rear hand can only reach so far. I cannot reach my opponent in a neutral bow with my rear weapon. If I were to shift weight, flexion, rotation, look at now the depth of penetration that I'm not only able to strike the stick, but I'm able to penetrate in and through the stick by about a fist length, 3 to 4 inches. So this neutral to forward bow action has given me depth of penetration and the ability to contact an opponent that was almost out of contact. Once again, neutral bow, my rear weapon cannot hit. I shift weight, flexion, rotation with the back foot, I can now contact my opponent. Stick really hasn't moved. I am the one that has now moved forward, hence the name forward bow.